Hey! Hello. It's time. It is time. Behold. The Skittles cam, new and improved angle. She's sleeping on the top floor. She's probably going to be doing that for most of the stream. Fucking hell yeah. Hello Breadstick, hello Sneff, how you guys doing? This is the big 10K subscriber Q&A stream. I got a whole shit ton of questions. So I'm not playing a game today. I'm just going to be focusing on that and talking to you guys in the chat and trying to, you know, have a coherent train of thought, if I may be so bold. We'll see. So I spent a little bit of time today trying to figure out the best angle. You can't see so Skittles' cage has 3 floors. You can't really see the bottom one this way, but if she's on the bottom floor, she's sleeping in her Coke box, in which case you can't see her anyway. So I figured getting this good angle on the top floor, that's the key shit. That's really the floor where a lot of the action happens, you see. Oh, see that? She's up to something already, having a little clean. Definitely superior angle. Good. I'm glad that you like it, Scrussel. So I am I am nearing the completion of the next video, so this was really well timed. A little something to do kind of between that. Skittles action cam, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So I got a whole bunch of questions here. I'm just giving it a minute for people to get in. Give Skittles our love, hell yeah. I tried to explain to her just how many people on the internet have seen her and have given her the appreciation and respect that she deserves, but I don't know. I'm not sure she knows English. I got my doubts, you know? What is she doing? Oh my god, she's stretching! Hell yeah. Fuck the Q&A, just watch her. Okay, well, I have with me a trusty carbonated beverage. Caffeinated, even. And I'll see if I can't give some insight into all these things that people are asking me. A lot of questions, and a lot of them redundant questions, which is fine. It just gives me some indication about like what kind of things people are curious about, you know? You can see her in the bottom. Oh, yeah, you get little glimpses. You get little glimpses of her then. What's she doing down there? Up to no good, I bet. I was hoping she was cozying in for a nice long sleep, but that's fine, that's fine. Anyhow, what I've done, because I got loads of questions, is I put the sort of the shorter, the silly ones. I put the silly ones, basically, and the ones with very short answers at the beginning. And then, just to sort of get us started, she's on the move. Oh! Just to get us started, and then we can sort of ease into the longer, more substantial topics. And, you know what? Oh my god, she's just... You know what, she can probably... I've set up so I've got like a little tripod that my phone is on as a camera. And I've got it on top of something else so that it can be kind of above her fairly tall cage. So she might be a little bit curious about it. Don't forget to oh, for fuck's sakes. Thank you, Nightmare Alpha. Always with this. Yeah, let me change the name here. Just chatting. There it is. Boom! Alright, see? But yeah, she's settling in now. She's all tuckered out. This you're gently breathing. Wow. Wow. I gotta say, Skittles cam, best idea I've ever had in my life. Oh. Okay. Right, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna start with some of the sort of shorter, simpler questions. Some of them were just silly. I think some of them were so dumb I didn't even include them. Nothing personal. If any of the ones that didn't get included were yours, I respect the query, you know? Sometimes you just gotta ask something real dumb. I understand. We've all been there. I notice everybody asked anonymously because you're fucking cowards. And I'm gonna respect that too. Did you get Chud questions? Actually, no. I just got lots of, like, shitpost questions probably from friends. I suspect I know who a couple of them are from, but no, I don't think I got anything reactionary. Which is kind of funny. When I did a Q&A stream ages ago. I think it was when I got to 2K, maybe? And I got loads of chuds in that time. I don't know, I think they just got sick of bugging me because I just wholesale fucking ignore them. Like, I'll just block them. I don't... When I get chud comments on YouTube videos, I just fucking mute them or hide them from the channel or whatever. Like, I don't tend to, like, engage with them, so I'm assuming they get bored. I don't know. I noticed that the people who, like, respond and try to, like, own them and stuff, the chuds never fucking leave them alone. So, I suspect there might be a little correlation there. I don't know. Alright, now she's starting to snooze. Alright. Anyway, yeah, as I'm going along, you know, don't hesitate to ask any questions, whether they're related to the current question or not, in the chat. I ain't going anywhere. There's a fucking quarantine. It's good. Don't feed the chuds. Yeah, I think it's good advice in general. Alright, so the very first question, very important, is... Oh, you're a leftist? Name every society. And I can. Alright, you got the big society, and then naturally, following that, you got the small society, right? And you got the society of the spectacle. You got the society of control. And then you got the society of birdwatchers. And that's them all. That's all the societies. That's it. Also, hello, wingless monkey. Milk the chuds for engagement. Zozo, that is honestly, I will say that the people I'm thinking of who do respond to them, and getting loads of arguments and stuff, they, you know, their channels have grown much faster than mine, so it's probably the way to do it. There's only one society and we live in it, that's true. Marxism, Leninism, Twitcherism is the society of birdwatchers. I don't get it. That would work for Twitter, right? Because of the bird. What is Twitch's, like, logo? It's just like, it's like a quotation mark in a chat box? The fuck is that? That's not anything. Twitcher is slang for a birdwatcher in the UK. Oh shit. I've lived here for many years and I'm still not down with all the slang. Oh yeah, there's also the Dead Poet Society. Yeah, thank you, chat. See, this is why I need you guys to back me up for when I get things wrong. The second most important question, I lied before, I'm actually putting the most important questions at the front, is where is peace stored? And folks, it's stored in the heart. Stored in the heart. Not a lot of people know that. The next question is, how long is Skittles? Now, the real answer is, she's as long as a friend. She's as long as a friend, folks. It's very hard to measure and indeed quantify the length of a ferret because they can expand and retract themselves quite a great deal. So a fully extended Skittles We're looking at, well, let me, got this here measuring tape. I would estimate, I don't want to wake her because she is sort of snoozing now. I would estimate a good, from toe to tip, I'm going to say at least a foot now, more than a foot and a half. I think we're going to start to really approach 2 feet without quite hitting it. I'm going to say that's her full possible length. Of course, her standing length, she's, you know, more like a foot then. This is the important lore. So ferrets are sort of like furry slinkies, precisely, Breadstick. That is, I think, the most accurate way to describe them. So somebody else has asked, how many ferrets must I own before I ascend into the divine realm? And I hate to be the one to break this to you, but you can't get there. The ferrets can go there. But humans don't have souls. A lot of people don't know that. We don't have souls. Everything else does. We're just sort of this vile homunculus that has been made by a question mark. So we go to oblivion. But ferrets always achieve divinity, as does every other living thing. Which it seems kind of fucked up because we're the only ones who can, like, consider this. So it seems like a bit of a sick joke that we're the ones who do not have souls. It's a byproduct of capitalism. Maybe. Maybe. We're gonna have to investigate this a little bit. If actually our material conditions are why we're all just husks of living things. A strange blend of rats and monkeys. Well, listen. I didn't vote for Mayor Pete, alright? I don't want to get saddled with that responsibility. Okay. It looks like Skittles is properly simmered down for a rest now. What a little guy. Just fantastic. By the way, how's everyone doing? It's I'm glad so many of you can make it. I know that it's not one of the usual stream days, but I figured so many people are in lockdown that it's probably fine on a weekday. I don't know. How are your weeks going anyway? There's a lot of Skittles questions in here. Alright, the next one is, can Skittles please offer to us but a crumb of her immense wisdom? I think you'll find, having a look at the Skittles cam, she already has. She teaches by doing. So I highly encourage any and all of you to just throw all your laundry on the floor and just curl up on it and see what happens. Breadstick says, got off work and I got paint in my hair. Oh, fuck that. Fuck that. That shit just, even if you don't have very long hair, that shit just doesn't... Nah. Whenever I see a painter and they don't have a shaved head, I just think they're braver than all the troops combined. Ironard's trying to decide whether the Gov is going to extend the lockdown or try to kill the rest of us. They really want us to go back to work. They hate this shit. They hate not being able to exploit our labor at the maximum possible rate. So, yeah, we'll see. We will see. Here in the UK, Scotland and Wales, I believe, are talking about not easing the lockdown when England does, which is meant to be happening pretty soon here. Because, I mean, you know, they're run by capitalists too, but I think a slightly less craven, bloodthirsty variety. A little bit more on the liberal side, a little less on the neoliberal side, you know? I'm not even a painter. I sell paint to painters. You can't trust those fuckers. They'll splash you, man. They'll splash you. They're just afraid we use the time to organize. I hope people have been. I know that, like, I've been hearing from the two different big tenants unions in the country I know of, that they've been getting loads of people I know that mutual aid groups all over the country, in the UK and the US, have been getting shit tons of people. That's really good. Scotland is talking a lot about the idea of UBI lately, which is encouraging. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, we'd have to see how they implement it, obviously. I don't know why the fuck I'm going to university in England in the near future. I should have moved to Scotland long enough to, like, get it free there. I live in the UK. Our part membership has tripled over lockdown. Good. Yeah, that's as it should. Like, so much has happened. Plus, here in the UK as well, in the middle of the lockdown, those Labour leaks came, which just sort of showed people that, like, electoralism is fucking rigged as shit. So, like, I certainly hope that socialist orgs in this country are seeing an increase in membership. Because if not now, when, right? Alright. Let's have a little look at the next one. Oh, the next one's nice. Somebody's trying to butter me up. They asked, where'd you get that voice from? It's pretty good. And I'll tell you exactly where I got that voice from. Drinking lots and lots of Mountain Dew. That's it. Just cultivated it for many years with the finest nectars nature has to offer. That's it. I'm drinking some right now. It's fucking... It's gamer juice, man. If I had better sodas to select from, I'd be drinking them, but after a recent sugar tax in the UK, all of them changed their recipe except Mountain Dew. Although those days could be numbered. Listen, you can say what you want. I want you to understand, however, friends who live in countries that have, like America, that have real drinks, that in the UK, we are in a barren soda wasteland. So we drink what we can get, alright? Mountain Dew tastes like the least healthy soda. I mean, probably. It probably is. I think once you're drinking soda at all, the question of health should not even... I think you're kidding yourself a bit. You know what I mean? But... hang on. Yeah, there we go. But, yeah, no, it's one of the few decent drinks. And I say decent incredibly broadly there. My favorite soda is root beer. I like Barks root beer, but you cannot get it here. You can buy it like imported, but you're looking at paying like £1.50 a can, and I can't be doing that shit. When you get carded at Asda for buying Monster, that's British culture now, man. Hearing about how shit the food and drinks are in the UK makes me want to make you real food and send it overseas. I mean, I can cook. I'm a very good cook. I cook decent food at home when I can be fucked. Where I really suffer is the junk food, you know, because I can't manufacture Barks root beer in my own home. Or Twizzlers. Oh, I miss Twizzlers, man. Anyway, I don't want to think about that. It makes me sad. And yet somehow I haven't lost any weight since living here. Fuck this place. Fucking fried food ass motherfuckers. Alright. Next question is... what are you watching right now? It's a very vague question that somebody asked, but I am watching a few things actually. I just finished The Mandalorian. Just slurping up that that Disney slop. But I actually kind of liked it. The music was fucking fly as hell. I like a lot of the ideas. It did all suffer from this Disney sheen and kind of like... it felt surprisingly cheap in a lot of ways. And it's like, you're Disney. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, spend the money. Go fuck yourself. Has anyone else here ever had spruce beer? I've never even heard of it, man.
Special thin wire is used which does not melt, but continues to glow with a bright light.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Ironard. I disagree. I disagree. I like the cut of the Dutch's jib. I like how they do things. Apple and potato, I think that's a completely legitimate way to go about things. I'm into it. It's great. They don't fucking play games with mayonnaise either. Respect. What else am I watching right now? What else am I watching? Mayo is vile stuff? Alright, listen, some people just don't get to be amongst the blessed. I've been watching the Venture Brothers as well. The Bros of Adventure. And I've never seen it before, but it's always kind of been on my radar, just because it's, you know, I don't know, it's like a big classic Adult Swim show. It's kind of like a cultural time capsule of the early 2000s, because I think the first season is like really early. I want to say like 2004 or something like that, and then another one in 2008, and then 2010, and the newest one came out, I think, in 2018. So it's like, you're just watching as comedy gets, like, really shitty and homophobic, and then, I guess as time goes on, it's probably gonna, much like the popular culture did, start to, like, grow out of it, you know? You gotta toddle off for a D&D game. Alright, have fun with that. Thanks for coming, by the way.
We'll use another piece of thin wire.
Hello, Mechasloth. Give me Skittles or give me death. That's right. That's right.
Once again, the wire glows, but quickly burns out.
To be honest, Scrussel, I mean, The Last Jedi is pretty good. Mandalorian's good. I've been watching the Clone Wars cartoon. It's hit and miss. But I'm still watching it. I watched the whole Mandalorian, and I'm kind of excited for season 2. So I think a lot of people very performatively don't watch like these awful Disney franchises. And if you don't like it, honestly, completely understandable. But like, it's fine. It's whatever, you know. Yeah, that's all I'm really watching right now. I don't, I've got some movies lined up. I need to rewatch a movie for a video that's upcoming-ish. It's gonna come out in June. But don't worry, I got a video coming out this weekend, and then another one, sort of, I'm hoping like late May, early June, and then a late June video. That's the rough schedule I'm looking at, which should give me enough time to get everything done. As long as nothing fucking crazy happens in the meantime. Knock on wood. Right. Okay, so the next question, I actually got several of these, is what are your thoughts on Vaush? Vaush? Voosh? Don't know. Couldn't tell you. Not really a word I'm familiar with. So my big thing is, and again, I've had a few of these. People, this guy gets talked about a lot. And I'm going to level with you. I've never seen a Vaush stream. A Vaush stream. My big thing is I think debates are really dumb. I don't think they're productive. So it's not even anything personal about him. I don't watch any of these. I don't watch that one dickhead, Destiny. I don't... it's... Okay, so when you get two people debating, I pronounced it right the first time. It's Vaush? Vaush? I forget which one I did first. Vaush. Okay, awesome. Nailed it. Alright, so you've got two people debating, and some people are going to already agree with one or the other, and then almost no matter what, they're going to insist that their guy won. Okay, sure. And then you got the people on the fence who are going to be swayed by debate. I'm sure there's some percent of the crowd who is that. They're going to be swayed by who is better at arguing and sometimes just who's a more forceful personality, or sometimes just whoever's like funnier or makes it feel more like they owned the other guy. That's not like a serious grown-up way to weigh up ideas. I don't know. I don't put any stock in that sort of shit at all. I think that's not helpful, especially because the right, especially the further right you go, they don't really engage with reality in the way that we kind of have to. They can really just make shit up. Like, and anyone who's watched what's he called? The Ian Danskin videos, the alt-right playbook, or even has read Umberto Eco's Fascism, that kind of goes over what I'm sort of kind of getting at here, which is just like, they can just fucking say whatever the fuck they want. Like, reality means nothing to them. They'll just throw shit at you. I forget what the name for it is, but there's a name for the debate tactic of just like saying like 100 crazy fucking things, just firing ridiculous points at someone in your like 10 minutes to speak. So in their 10 minutes, they got to spend it like debunking. You know, they'll have time to like go into why like one or two of those points is wrong. Gish Gallop, that's it. It's really fucking effective. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't think that the like the blood sport debate is a format where we necessarily do well. And even if we did, I mean, you know, yeah, Ben Shapiro's whole career is based on that. No, the Motte and Bailey is something different. Motte and Bailey is when you make a more like egregious version of a point, but then you have a slightly more sensible version you can retreat to, I think. I'm also going by what's his channel called? Just an Ian Danskin video on that one. I think Vaush is fine. His electoralism arc is just kind of dumb. I don't follow him either, but no. I saw someone talking about how he's like getting mad at people for not voting Biden. My understanding, so again, I've never seen one of his streams. I don't follow him on Twitter. I just don't. I'm not really interested. That's just not the side of things that I'm that focused on. But my understanding is he brands himself as kind of like an edgy, possibly tough guy. I don't know. But certainly someone who would make like hard, pragmatic decisions, just based on my understanding of his persona, I guess. I'm not saying that to be condescending. That might just be how he is. I don't know. So surely he should understand leverage. He should understand the tactical decision to withhold support for Joe Biden from people on the left, trying to either get concessions or show the Dems for what they are, which is people who'd sooner lose to Trump than cede to the left, right? Like, I don't know. I don't get his politics. People seem to have strong opinions on him. But I don't know. He's probably better than that Destiny guy. He's the other big, loud debate man I know of. I've watched a fair number of his streams, and that's a fair characterization of him. All right. I mean, with a lot of these guys, you have people coming out and talking about how they brought them over to the left or whatever. If he's actually doing that and getting people to like question some of their ideas, more power to him. I'm not gonna watch. He just thinks Biden is harm reduction. I mean, that's a whole other discussion. Even if you're gonna ultimately vote for Biden, this is the time where you say that you're not. It's called applying pressure. I don't know. So many people who want to be fucking socialists just don't. I feel like they don't think about politics in like a strategic way. Yeah, I don't know. But I cannot stress enough, I do not want to debate him about this. Do not clip me criticizing his points and send it to him. I will not debate him. I will not debate anybody. I am very tired. Yeah, no, breadstick. I wasn't like coming at you with that or anything. I'm just sort of, yeah, coming at the point itself. That's all. Anyway, like I said, debate me. No, I don't know shit about him, so I'm gonna move on to the next question. Just because I don't like to. I also don't really like to talk shit about people who like aren't there, and I know that maybe is a hang-up that is difficult to maintain while being a streamer, but is, you know. Alright, next question is... This is a longer one. I think we're starting to get into the more substantial ones now. What's your thoughts on the left-wing independence movements gaining traction in Europe, Scotland, Wales, Catalonia, and their potential for the left? Also, please appreciate Leanne Wood. She's the best socialist in the UK at the moment. Now, I believe Leanne Wood is a Welsh, maybe in that one party, Plaid Cymru, I think is how you pronounce that. That's the Welsh Independence Party. I figure probably a lot of people in here won't know about some of these more obscure things in British politics. Okay, so broadly speaking, I'm in favor of them. However, the first thing that someone who's against them from a left position would probably say is that in independent Scotland or Ireland or whatever, it's not inherently going to be a socialist project, and they are correct. That is true. They're correct on that front, while also, I think, being wrong about not supporting them. And let me sort of expand on that. But first, I'm gonna have a big sip. Will the Welsh make sheep hybrids? I hope so. They've always been an industrious people, I assume. Right, so in independent Ireland, for example, it wouldn't automatically be socialist. No, of course not. Sometimes I feel like people can kind of get into the sorry, so I lost my train of thought there. Fuck. Oh, right. People can sort of fall into the trap with something like an independent Ireland of kind of acting like it would automatically be a socialist thing because the left in that part of the world does, quite a lot of them anyway, does support, Irish independence, reunification. However, in independent Ireland, it would have its own struggle after independence. It's got a very strong religious right. And indeed, even like the more traditional colonized peoples you'd think of, like indigenous peoples in America, they probably, a lot of them, given like, if they got their fucking land back and could self-govern, wouldn't assume that all of them would, create these stateless, classless societies. These are groups of people who are going to have their own ideas. But that's not really the point here. We don't support self-determination for colonized peoples or just otherwise occupied peoples because it'll make them be communists. We do it because it's right, and more importantly, it weakens the occupier nation, right? It takes land and exploitable labor and resources from these giant imperialist nations. Sometimes, depending, it could even go so far as to balkanize them. And again, that doesn't make them be socialist. That's always the argument against these things. It's like, well, that's not socialism. It's like, yeah, no shit. But these are incredibly powerful, state entities. And it's only a benefit to the global proletariat, regardless of whether these nations become communist or not, for them to be sort of splintered and decentralized. That's a good thing. So I think that is more than enough reason to support independence movements, like the ones in Scotland, like certainly the Irish struggle. I take a little bit of umbrage with this question characterizing these independence movements as something inherently left-wing. Is the Catalonian thing left-wing? I don't know. Is Scottish independence? No, not really. I mean, it's probably left of the Conservative Party, but, you know, that's maybe not the highest bar on the planet. And that kind of goes into exactly the thing I was talking about, right? About making the mistake of immediately seeing these things as socialist, right? I was just thinking, isn't Scotland less pro-left and more anti-England? Kinda, yeah. I don't know if they would be... So they've got, like, in some spheres, they've got kind of more of a propensity for, like, sort of liberal progressive politics. They were a Labour stronghold before they SNP, which is certainly left of the Tories, but not by as much as many people think. Yeah, I don't know if they would be like that if the English weren't so fucking conservative, you know? Sorry about that. These movements are mostly liberal? Yeah, I mean, yeah, they are. Most movements that are not explicitly communist are. But the things that they want can still end up being things that are beneficial to the working class in the long run. And I do take issue, right, with people who won't support these things, right? Who will say, well, this isn't a socialist project, so it's bad. But I guess a way to think of it would be, you know, what if today France decided to invade and take Belgium, right? Just pretend that the EU wouldn't have anything to say about that. I think it's safe to assume that the left in general would, you know, oppose that and would support the Belgians trying to not be fucking, like, taken over by this, like, this French aggression, right? However, what we're seeing would indicate that if France successfully took Belgium, after a few generations, a lot of the left would then start decrying Belgians who don't want to be occupied by France anymore as, like, well, those are just Belgian nationalists. They're not, you know, this isn't a socialist project, so we should ignore it. As this, like, aggressive French military machine, you know, secures its what it's taken. That's not a position that makes any sense, I don't think. Scrussel says, I heard somewhere that a big part of the Catalonia independence movement is based on them resenting having to pay taxes to the rest of Spain. Because they're rich. Alright, I don't know. I don't claim to know a whole lot about what's going on in Spain right now. There's a lot of reasons that a region or a nationality within a country would want independence. A big part of the question is how many of them want it, right? Like, if Scotland doesn't want to be part of the UK, I do think it is wrong to force them to remain part of the UK, right? And similarly with Catalonia. In fact, Catalonia had that fucking referendum, and they voted pretty strongly to go independent, and Spain said no. It's like, I don't know why you wouldn't support Catalonia in that situation, but a lot of people don't, because it's not a socialist project, and because I think they take a very simple perspective on nationalism, where they are forming an identity around nationality, therefore automatically the enemy kind of thing. It's like, it's just another fucking thing. Like, it's just another country. It's not, you know, it's not automatically good or bad, you know? We do want an independent Palestine. Can't stress that enough. Absolutely. But yeah, I don't really know much about Leanne Wood, who the asker is talking about. I don't really know shit about Wales. which is why I'm talking more about Scotland and Ireland and Catalonia here. I know a few good socialists from Wales, and all of them support independence. So I got no reason to argue with them, you know? All right, let's have a little looky at the next question here. Oh, by the way, that all extends to, like, the US as well. Like, if there are states that want to go independent, balkanize the US, man. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? The US is the most dangerous, like, entity on the planet. I think that Americans should be being like, yeah, totally, yeah. If this state wants to go do its own thing, absolutely. Let's do it. That's my big stance. And the next question is, if you could do one thing right now to aid leftist causes where you live / globally, like snap your fingers and it's done, what would be your priority? I mean, that's a big question, right? So there's a lazy answer here, right? I could just say, yeah, I'd like to snap my fingers and have capitalism not exist anymore. But maybe a slightly more realistic thing, like something that could be done in the immediate that I would like if it was done. At least here in the UK, one thing I wish I could just will people to do would be to unite to some degree under one organization. See, the UK is full of tiny, irrelevant factions and labor offshoots and all sorts. And I'm not saying they all need to become one big party, but I would think of it more like a federation, right? A federation of groups with autonomy in their own right. You know, they wouldn't all have to toe the exact same line and do the exact same thing, because that's just not, you know, that's not going to happen. But a federation of groups who coordinate with all the other groups in the country via, you know, some sort of highly democratic central body, right? Perhaps not unlike democratic confederalism, but, you know, not necessarily like exactly like that kind of model, but I perhaps the spirit of it. You know what I mean? Because there's these loads of shitty, like, 8-man factions who don't do anything. And a model like that would force them to engage with the wider left. And it would also weed out ideas that aren't useful, right? Because you'd be accountable to your peers, right? To your comrades, to other socialists, to other working class people who are in sort of the interested in organizing. So, like, lifestylist, performative bullshit, it could not survive in an environment like that, where there's a shred of accountability, right? And another great thing is people would then know where to go. If there was this big federation of groups, you could be like, okay, so who's part of this in my city, in my town? Because the way it is now, where there's all these little factions that fucking hate each other, how the fuck are you supposed to know where to go? You've probably heard bad things about every org or little party or whatever the hell in your city. Just from, like, people who aren't of their tendency. And a lot of those, by the way, a lot of the bad things you've heard are fucking true. They're probably all true. Which, again, is why the added accountability of a more federated system like this, we would weed out all these assholes and, like, abusers in these groups. It's better on every fucking front. I'm very convinced of that. I've been sharing some stuff from... There's an American group called Marxist Center, who I think are trying to do something kind of similar to that. And it's also kind of the structure that, like, tenants unions have been using. Like, Acorn does that. It's got its independent branches, but it has a central body as well. And there's so much collaboration between these branches. Like, it's such a powerful model, and it's just Like, if I could snap my fingers and just overnight have us, like, all the socialist orgs and anarchist orgs and communists all doing something like that, you know, you don't have to have the same fucking opinions about the USSR. It doesn't matter. For what we're doing, it doesn't matter. That's baby shit. It doesn't matter at all. Correct and incorrect ideas about how to tackle the actual problems that we're facing in this country today, they will only be determined through actually organizing in the real and trying to solve these problems. And you know what? The people whose ideas work, other people in that federation are going to see that and copy that. That's how it works, man. The marketplace of ideas isn't actually how you figure out how to build socialism. That's not true. So that's my big thing. I would snap my fingers and make that happen. Cherry Red Joy asks, what's your opinion on younger Americans that get into leftist politics as a sort of meme and end up preaching socialism/communism but only see a violent revolution as a solution to the current government? I mean, obviously, you know, as per Twitch's terms and services, I wouldn't endorse violence in any way. However, if they believe that that is the solution, there's probably a very good reason they believe that. However, yeah, this kind of comes back to what I was just saying about how correct ideas are determined through practice and actually putting them into play in the real world. They will learn through that practice. They will absolutely learn that there is so much more between now and that hypothetical thing that they're suggesting, and I am not. There's so much to be done. There's so much development that needs to happen, that I don't know. Even talking about it today, just even if you were to think it's completely a necessity, and you know history agrees with that position quite a bit. To even be like talking about it like it's a current concern, I think is, you know. On the other hand, I also would warn against the people who talk about it like it's impossible. I've criticized a lot of people for doing that. Probably the most popular people I've criticized for doing that are the Chapos, which again, that's not a beef I'm trying to start. It's just a criticism of some things that some of them have said, where you talk about it like it's this thing that just can't ever happen, so to put it out of your mind. I'm not endorsing that either. It's just about being it's just about being realistic about where we are now and how to get where we want to be. That's all. And nobody whose entire engagement with politics is memes is ever going to have a healthy idea of that, which is why you need to always be trying to pull people off the fucking internet and into orgs. It doesn't even have to be like a fucking communist party or whatever. I'm not in a communist party. But get them into Food Not Bombs. Get them doing mutual aid right now because of the fucking pandemic. Like, get them doing stuff that isn't posting, and I promise their politics will become more rounded and intelligent and informed as a direct result of that. I promise. That's what happens, you know?
Intercept.
Let's have a little looky at the next question here. Boop. Favorite piece of crypto-leftist or explicitly leftist media? Easy. Disco Elysium. Play it right now. Okay, maybe wait for the stream to end, you know, but Disco Elysium's really, really good. And a big part of what makes it good is also a thing that I have a problem with in a lot of anti-capitalist media. Hey, Stockdale, how you doing, man? So there's a fuck ton of media that is anti-capitalist, and that has value. Absolutely has value. And we should keep making it. But those stories are still told in a capitalist context, right? Something like Disco Elysium, or like the entire cyberpunk genre is a good example. It's anti-capitalist by depicting kind of capitalism taken to certain extremes, right? But what I think can be really powerful is art that is actually, it attempts to break out of that sort of capitalist realism and portray a world where relations are just completely beyond the market logic and dominant ideas of the modern day. And that is a lot rarer than just stuff that is anti-capitalist by showing how bad capitalism is, because it's fucking hard. It's hard to fully just create something disconnected from the real, right? The now. There's a lot of series that come to mind that almost do it. Pokemon is a good example. It's just not... It's not a capitalist society, except for when it is, right? Everyone seems to make their living via gambling, but, you know, more intentionally than that. Like, you're still purchasing things. There's still commerce in the most traditional way. There's still, you know, private businesses and private property and commodities. You know, it's not a communist society. It's just like a really chill version of capitalism where the bad shit doesn't really exist, right? And that's what a lot of things are that try to be like post-capitalist. Star Trek can be kind of like that as well. And I'd like to see more of that, you know? I'd like to see more things that sort of imagine just how the world could be different. And it's an unfortunate thing that socialists are put in a position, actually kind of circling back to one of the earlier questions. I was talking about how I don't like debates. And a big thing is I've seen a couple of times when like a capitalist and a socialist have debated. I've seen like bits of Destiny debating people, and he always does the same thing, right? He demands that the socialist explains exactly how everything will work. And and all he has to do, and his favorite fallacy, and it is absolutely a fallacy, okay? It's the is-ought fallacy, right? It's where you say, well, this is how this thing works, and that fact is enough to justify its existence. So somebody will say, well, housing shouldn't be a commodity. You shouldn't have to, like, pay rent. And then somebody who's defending capitalism might respond, well, you gotta pay rent because the person who owns it has to pay their mortgage. Right? Just like completely just stating a fact about how the thing currently works, right? Whereas the other person is trying to talk about how things could work differently. So now the reactionary in this situation only has to call to how things are. And everyone listening to that, and it's a big part of why the right fetishizes facts, right? Because it is a fact. You know, if somebody responds to somebody criticizing the fact that like housing is a commodity with, well, you've got to pay rent because the person who owns the house, the landlord, has to pay their mortgage. That is a fact. Yeah, that's true. That's a true statement, right? But that belies the fact that the first person is not arguing that that isn't true. They're arguing that that should not be how it works. So you're in a position where you have to work in all these hypotheticals where the capitalism defender, he just has to say the way things are and then look smug. And a decent percent of the audience will be like, yeah, he's saying facts. This other person is just making shit up, right? Which is a total fucking dipshit way of thinking, but it's effective, obviously. Because it does you sound more grounded and realistic, because you are saying things that are currently undeniably the way things work, whereas the other person is trying to sell you on a new idea, basically, and that's much harder. To be honest, Ziscore, I don't know if I would even call it a fallacy. Maybe, I'm not sure, and I don't even know if I would say it's derailing. It's just not. It's not truly engaging with the point the other person is making. It's shutting down and just saying, well, you can't change thing because thing works like this, right? You're the first person to say that, right? Just was completely guessing. I'm getting good at this. Destiny does a lot of questions begging. Question begging. Yeah. That's what you call it. Yeah. No, he does. And it's a powerful tactic for putting the other guy in a position where they have to defend everything, where you can just like make really like non-substantial statements and then be like, yeah, well, you know, you currently have to pay rent, so now you, random socialist I'm debating, you need to now break down flawlessly in detail the entire method by which property would be distributed and created and maintained. And it's like, I think I said something along these lines once before, where they were like giving someone shit for not knowing how staplers would be distributed under socialism, and I said that I bet Destiny couldn't fucking tell you how staplers are distributed now. Like, that's not something that everyone just knows. It's completely ridiculous. See, it's a disingenuous tactic, and sort of what I'm trying to bring this back around to is, I think it's good to have art that imagines a fundamentally different world, not just critiquing the current one, although obviously that's also incredibly important. Casually swatting down their points sounds boring? Yeah, it does sound fucking boring, doesn't it? Wingless Monkey is sharing a Minecraft boat ride with a giant spider. You know what? I support you and your new spouse. When I brought up Canada's stimulus package compared to America's to my family, they said, we have a bigger population. When I said we have a bigger GDP, my mom said we should just be thankful. I responded, that's just complacency, and she had no response and walked away instead. Liberalism is a hard thing to break. Yeah, so this is a really popular thing in America because they are a fairly big country. Any criticism, it's very common to just say, well, you know, we're a bigger country, we got a bigger population. It's like, that's not how anything works. And yeah, GDP, it accounts for that. And also, like, sometimes it'll be about something that they're pulling off in like China or India or something. It's like it's not a fucking argument. It's nothing. Also, yeah, we should be thankful is a very non-substantive thing. It's just like, hey, don't rock the boat. Yeah, I don't think that should be taken, seriously at all. Oh, look at Skittles. She's still snoozing in the same place. If you look closely, you can see her little breathes. The bigger population bullshit is used for Medicare for all, too. Yeah, it is. Again, not how it works. Every country doesn't have the same amount of doctors, right? Like, your doctors and your resources and your hospitals, they tend to correlate with your population somewhat. Oh yeah, the X state plan won't work for Y state. I mean, let's be frank here. The US should not be one country. Like, even before getting into, like, the decolonization conversation here, like, as the states exist now, there is a lot of variation between them. And it wouldn't be hard, no, to give the states the autonomy to, like, make a policy suit each of their needs. It's just a lazy fucking excuse, but also the fact that there are states different enough that a healthcare plan could work for one but not the other, those should not be the same fucking country. See if you can get all the libs to support balkanizing the US just so that they won't have to have Medicare for all. Yeah, I'm all about balkanizing that shit. Absolute fucking fuck this. Fuck the USA. Can't stress that enough. Is that against Twitch's rules? I hope not. I don't know. I'm trying to be good, Twitch. Mr. Bezos. Don't hit me. Right, next question. Boop, boop. Do you do anything special to help retain information? This has been my biggest struggle with reading, or with trying to read, leftist material. It's perhaps not even so much that it isn't retained, but that I struggle to draw upon it when needed, in discussion with others. Wondered if you've ever run into problems of that nature. This is a really good question. Also, Scrussel, splitting up the military is literally the biggest reason to balkanize it. So, I mean, yeah, that would be a problem, but it's one to be talked about, right? Like, that would be the biggest advantage to, like, life on Earth, would be the US military being decentralized somewhat. Especially because if the US was broken into other nations, they wouldn't necessarily all do the same things. They wouldn't necessarily be willing to all go to war with the same people. Like, yeah, that is a problem, and it's also, like, one that has to be figured out, because that shit's gotta happen. Or else any efforts at building socialism, they're just gonna turn up. Like, if you get far enough, the US turns up. That's what happens. So you've gotta think about that and what can be done. Right, so as for this person's question, or what if one area does get most of it and decides to just invade their new neighbors? I mean, they might. I doubt it. I can't stress this enough. The United States, if you've got any sort of version of events going forward where the United States keeps existing, then I don't think your plan, I think your plan has holes in it. That's all I'm saying. So you are completely right to point out, yeah, there would be issues with this. That's like, there's far bigger issues if the US keeps existing. Like, I consider this non-optional. I think a lot of people, they get a little nervous when it comes to things that would actually directly affect their life, especially Americans, because America's an interesting country because the people who live in it are insulated from their foreign policy while being made massively vulnerable by their domestic policy. You know what I mean? So it can be, they could have sort of a weird perspective on things like that. But those states are gonna have to figure out how to exist. Like, I don't personally think that the U.S. as an entity is gonna, like, exist forever, right? Well, yeah, the people will absolutely be impacted. Yes, that's gonna happen. All the more reason for us to be building strong socialist bases now so that we can look after each other when that kind of thing starts to happen. Because the state doesn't look after us now, right? Like, I'm hoping it won't make it another 50 years. Me too, actually. But yeah, the whole point of the whole point of sort of the dual power thing that we're trying to construct as socialists is because we need to be in a position as quickly as possible where the state is not the arbiter of our ability to not die, basically. That's what I'm sort of saying here, and that's why that side of our work is so important, because we can't rely on the stability of these big imperialist nations that are honestly, like, the US is simultaneously such a strong, beyond comprehension entity while also being, like, a very precarious thing as a state. You know what I mean? And, well, yeah, that's another thing, is a lot of people are completely understandably nervous about what could and what eventually will happen as the US as a state sort of collapses under the weight of the crises that are just kind of building up under the surface and have been for decades. But on the other hand of that, yeah, there's people in other countries who'd probably be pretty fucking hype. Which is why we need to do everything we can to protect the people where we are, basically. I mean, even talking about the powerhouse cities and thinking they are strong, they draw a lot from the rest of the state and surrounding areas. Yeah. Yeah. New York City, I don't think could, like, operate without the rest of New York State. Again, I'm not gonna, like, sit here and speculate at what, you know, a decline in the U.S. as a state would look like. I'm just fairly confident that it will happen. And so we need to sort of not sort of be scared about what's going to happen, but try to be prepared for what's going to happen, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. Coup or revolution, I think, are the two biggest options. I mean, who knows? Like I said, I'm not going to speculate at this point. Just that I don't think... I think there's a very strong argument that it is not a long-term sustainable entity as a state. Sorry to drag you into the weeds. No, it's fine. No, I mean, I talk about this quite openly, and then, you know, people who have to fucking live there, very, very understandably, you know, get worried. Because the US is held together by fucking duct tape and fucking toothpicks. So, like, it's not going to be, like, great for the people who are there. But, like, it's something that at some point is gonna happen. You know, maybe not in our lifetime, but it's gonna happen. If it stays together, it will be via military force. Yeah, and as things progress, as, you know, capital's inability to keep finding new growth pushes it to further extremes, as the climate crisis jeopardizes what little stability the US still has, the military force of keeping it together, I'm very confident, will be much, much, much worse than the chaos of it falling apart. So I totally understand why you're scared, and you're not wrong to be. I guess on one side of it, it's kind of like careful what you wish for because of what they would have to do to keep it together. But on the other, it's a reminder of why we prioritize the things that we're prioritizing as socialists. We can only really hope for a Rome-style collapse where the regular people are mostly unaffected and new societies grow around what power structures remain. I mean, I don't know. It would be something. It would be an event quite unprecedented insofar as there's not a lot of direct parallel examples we could look at. So again, you know, I wouldn't speculate too much. I'll only allow myself to speculate that it will probably happen. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to be callous or inconsiderate of the concerns of, you know, the hundreds of millions of people who live there, right? Yeah, precisely, Breadstick. And again, can't stress that enough. Wanting there to be actual widespread support networks for when it eventually collapses, that's where we come in. That's why I tend to point to, like, the Panthers as, like, a big contemporary example of organizational models and of priorities as we understand them. We've got to be ready for this, basically. Even if it's not in our lifetimes, we need to lay the groundwork for a left that can be ready for this. Because, again, it's ultimately the best thing, I think, for everyone, you know. No, we don't right now. And the US isn't, you know, going to fall apart next week, right? So we have time. I don't know how much, but we should... we really ought to get on it. And that also comes back to one of the earlier questions was, you know, if I could snap my fingers now and make something happen, one would be that that the disparate socialist groups could get together under one banner, not as one party, but as a federation of independent groups, but to be able to coordinate with each other and communicate in a way that they just fucking don't right now, because that's going to be needed. That's really going to be needed. So I totally haven't been answering this question about how do I retain information? How do I do that? How do I do that? I don't retain shit. No. There's two main things when reading or watching something, right, that I think would help pretty much anybody to retain and understand information better. Because that's what you need to be able to pull it up in a discussion organically, right? You need understanding. You watch videos and stuff repeatedly? Yeah, I mean, repeat watching, repeat reading. That's a good one. So my big two things, the first one is taking notes. You know, when you whether you're reading or watching a video or listening to something, take notes, key points, things that stand out to you, you know. It really makes a difference. And when I was in school, they made us hand in our notes to like prove that we were doing it, like it was part of our mark. And it totally fucked everyone's ability to take notes in a way that works for them, because it became just another like set of criteria to fulfill so we'd get good marks. The intention was good. You know, it was the getting us in the habit of note-taking, but turning it into part of the homework was fucking disastrous. And I had to basically relearn how to take notes as an adult, like in a way that worked for me and not in like the way that, you know, my teacher wanted. My note-taking style is chaotic, to say the least. That's fine. It's fine if fucking... It just has to work for you. And yeah, Wingless Monkey, it was a ridiculous policy. Yeah. I had a lot of bad luck in school, so a lot of things I had to like relearn how to do them or how to like them. Interestingly, school put me off like literary analysis and stuff for years. I had to get into it again, kind of. You don't take notes, and doing so would harm you. Fair enough. It doesn't work for everyone. I do think for a lot of people it would work. And so that's kind of the first thing. Don't just read a book, you know, try to take notes, organize them, color code them, yeah, do whatever. Whatever works for you. And the second thing is to study with other people. Don't just do that shit alone if you can help it. A reading group should never be all you do, but you should do it. By discussing things with others, you'll understand them more fully, because you'll have to articulate them to other people. Like if you're reading in a group with, you know, 5 people, and one of them doesn't understand an idea, now the others have to get to grips with an idea enough that they can explain it to someone who doesn't understand it. And that will then help you understand that idea more than you would have if you just read it and then moved on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, discussing topics with others, that's huge. And also, you'll actually do it. If you're doing it as part of a group, then you have people who you're accountable to. So if you're all like, okay, we're going to read the first chapter of, what's a book? I don't know. Wretched of the Earth. Fandin's Wretched of the Earth. You have to do it now. You've just told a group of people you're going to fucking do it. Peer pressure can be a powerful thing. And also, it's not, you know, purely a negative thing, but also, yeah, like a Discord group is great, like you said. Because then you've got a group chat and people are going to be talking about that chapter and discussing the ideas in it and asking questions. And it's gonna spur you on to actually read it, but also it's gonna help you understand it better. So if you're taking notes, if you're reading in a group, you're miles ahead of where you would be just like sitting on your own reading a book and, you know, getting bored halfway through, because books are fucking long. But yeah, I consider those two things like mandatory. You got to do them. Yeah, I don't know. Anyone in the chat have other ideas about how to... For me, those are the big ones. Notes, group study. Cherry Red Joy says, need to find one that's focused. Only Discord where I have socialist friends. Half the time they just talk about RuneScape or anime. Hey, that's legit. Another little key bit of advice for everyone. Never let yourself, especially during a lockdown where most of your interaction is probably online, never let yourself only exist in socialist spaces that are only talking about politics, because you'll go fucking crazy. You've gotta be able to just like talk about video games or fucking Star Wars or cooking. Like, you gotta still be able to do normal people stuff or you will lose your mind. And there's a lot of people on Twitter who are a cautionary tale of what happens when you just go down that hole and can't be a normal person anymore. And you gotta watch out. Me, I like making music. I like writing. I like food, sometimes cooking it, certainly eating it. I love playing video games. I've got hobbies that aren't explicitly socialism, and you have to. You just have to. Oh boy, you have to. Alright. Boom. Next question. What are some of the biggest hurdles you face as a creator on YouTube? You know, the biggest hurdles come from YouTube itself, or my own life, just like as a working class person. You know, this is everyone's fucking complaint, but I'm gonna say it again because it's a nightmare. Scrussel says being a gamer makes you a better socialist. That's true. That is true. So, YouTube's fucking copyright policy, nightmare. That's the first obvious big hurdle. It puts me in a position where I have to do a lot of extra work, and trying to appease the algorithm can lead to me sometimes framing things or covering topics I maybe wouldn't have chosen under normal circumstances. Funny enough, whenever I frame something to try and be clickbaity, it doesn't do particularly well. Like, I have a really good video on anti-fascism and terrorism, but I think I framed it as kind of like a response debunking of like Fox News and Ben Shapiro. It didn't really do better than any other video. I probably could have just framed it the way I wanted to. And it probably would have done just as well. I think it's a very good video. I'm very proud of that video, don't get me wrong. But I think I'm getting to a point where I'm letting myself just do what I want a little more and not trying to just play the fucking algorithm game, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'd rather just do what I want to do and hope that the people who like what I make will be, you know, will be interested in it. Like, I've got a couple videos that are more like straight politics videos that I'm trying to get out quickish. They might be slightly more visually simple than some of them have been, because I'm trying to get them out as quick as I can. While they're still very topical. One is going to come out hopefully this weekend. It's going to be about electoralism. It's going to talk about the US and the UK, because they've sort of both just seen the left suffer substantial defeats in the electoral field. And I'm going to do one about labor after that. But then after that, probably going to do some more film analysis. Like, I'm just doing what I think is valuable to say at any given time, I guess. Also, another big hurdle I face as a YouTuber, yeah, it just comes from real life. Just finding the time. I don't do like the face cam vlog style video. So every second of visuals is something I have to put together myself, like manually. And it's not hard to throw a graphic up there or a clip or something. But to fill 15, 20 minutes with that while trying to keep it engaging and not too static, it's a shit ton of work. And I've only got so much time and energy. Especially, you know, obviously, I'm incredibly fucking grateful to all of my patrons, every single one of them. But, you know, it's not my main income. It's not like a huge ton of money or anything. So there's only so much time and effort I can put in any given day. I love your video on the lighthouse. Thank you. That is one of my favorites of mine, and I think it's my most viewed by like a lot. So clearly people liked it. That's great. I think the algorithm might have picked it up for a couple of days, because it had some strong days. But yeah, I need to let myself. It's important to, you know, try to put things out as regularly as you can. I think with some videos I need to let them be a little less visually dynamic so I can get them out in a timely manner, sort of like Sean does. He seems to get away with it. I don't know. I'm actually fond of people who don't rely on visuals in videos so I can multitask while I listen. All right. I mean, I don't want it to be, you know, totally without visuals, but sometimes, you know, you just gotta get the fucking video out. But yeah, Sean makes really good, engaging videos. Just show me Skittles video and I'll be fine. Yeah, I should use more Skittles B-roll. That's probably... Sometimes I feel like it's not appropriate, because, like, you know, sometimes I cover really heavy topics. And, like, if I'm doing a video about, like, fascism, I might not be appropriate to just have footage of Skittles fucking, like, hopping around, being a little weirdo. I don't know. Don't imply Skittles is a fascist. Yeah. Now, Skittles, the thing you gotta understand about Skittles is she's never done anything wrong in her whole life. Never. Not a single thing. So, don't even worry about all that. I believe that? Well, you better. But, yeah. You know. Those are my big hurdles. YouTube, the algorithm, their god-awful copyright, and then just finding the fucking time and energy to put videos together. It's a lot of work. And I don't know, I'm really grateful for the kind words that I get from most people. As far as YouTube comments go, I think, with the exception of one or two of my videos that the Nazis really got upset about, I think my comment sections are generally a very nice place. So that, you know, it makes it a little more worth it. So, you know, never hesitate to just be nice to me in the comments. Alright, let's have the next one. Somebody asks, what sort of non-political stuff do you enjoy on the YouTube? This kind of actually goes back to what I was saying a minute ago. You gotta have interests outside of socialism or you'll lose your mind. I love cooking YouTube. I'm probably, if I never watched cooking YouTube, I'd probably be about 20 pounds lighter. I'm always watching fucking Binging with Babyyyyy. That's one. Adam Ragusa. That's another one. I'm also into... I don't know if this is all one channel. I'm always getting recommended them, but they'll be like Korean street food videos. But no one will talk. They'll be almost like ASMR. And it'll just be them making the thing, and it's very peaceful and relaxed, and also the food's always really great. I have not seen Bon Appetit. That's the thing with that woman Claire that everyone is super, like, kind of combination horny and wishes she was their mom, right? Because that's a dangerous combination. I gotta really watch out, guys. I took 3 years of French and couldn't spell that. Literary analysis and nature documentaries, that's good too, absolutely. Oedipus complex intensifies, right? What else? What else is there? Oh yeah, I've been really getting into refurbishment YouTube. Motherfuckers take old nasty-ass Game Boys and World War II lighters and make them beautiful and new again. It's very... I wish that I could do more labor that you see a direct product of in the real. Like, I wish I could make fucking shelves. I wish I had the resources and tools to just make shelves and tables and fucking... I briefly felled trees, which was pretty dope. It's like, I'm making lumber happen. This will probably become part of someone's house or something. It's like, it's like the opposite of alienation that you feel when you're doing like an office job and you're just there to kind of like move stuff around because it somehow profits your employer slightly more than they pay you to fucking do it. But if you didn't do it, you know, it would be fine. I went on a massive binge of wood turning videos lately. Oh, hell yeah, man. YouTube got me into mead brewing. I really want to make mead. Ooh, use your walls as a source of wood? I might run out of shelter. But yeah, I like that. I like watching that stuff so I can at least live vicariously through them doing it. There's one channel I fucking hate. I have an enemy cooking channel, and I always forget what it's called. I think it might be called Food Wishes? Is that a channel? There's a guy, and he has a cadence that makes me want to fucking just put my head on a train track. It's like... I'm not even sure how to imitate it. Like, he every sentence has, like, the same upward inflection. You know what I mean? It's Food Wishes. Yeah. Food Wishes. Enemy channel. Hate it. I can't listen to it. It makes me, like, angry. John from foodwishes.com. Yeah, Food Wishes is the enemy. Yeah, he has this upward inflection like this on every single sentence. And then you put in a cup of flour. And he just does it again and again and again. And I'm upset just thinking about it. I need him to fucking stop. I don't know why he does it. Don't speak like that of Chef John from foodwishes.com. Just, yeah, enemy man. But I like other food channels. I might watch some Bon Appetit. I don't know. But yeah, that's good YouTube. I do mostly watch like video essays and political analysis, but I'm very sure to make time for other shit. Again, so I don't lose my mind. I can't watch food vids because I'll get envious. Yeah, I just end up making it and I'm really full right now. I had a big meal before streaming, so I'm currently immune. But if I watch that while I'm hungry, I'm fucked. I'm done. My whole operation's been compromised. Everything's out the window. All my training, my years of preparation. There's a channel called Odd Tinkering, I think. He refurbishes a lot of like consoles. And he does this thing that I'm really fascinated by, where he will take plastic that is aged and started to yellow, and he'll put it in something. I forget what. He puts it in something, some liquid, and then he'll like shine like UV lights on it or something, and like leave it in that bath getting UV blasted overnight, and it'll just like it'll look like fucking brand new again. It's magic, witchcraft. And I don't know, I'm like a fucking baby. Every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, it looks great. You didn't think it would this time, but you showed me. So yeah, I love watching that stuff. Although one time, that channel, he had a Nazi can opener, and he didn't burn it like he should have, so... Nobody's nerfed, I guess. Right, so let's hop on to the next question. What sort of subjects do you avoid broaching as someone with a growing audience online, and why do you try to avoid talking about them? Now that's a dangerous question, right there. Somebody's trying to get me. But I mean, yeah, there's totally things that I don't talk about. I try to keep things fairly accessible on my channel, you know? I see a lot of the big channels like Contra and Sean as sort of like an entryway into socialist politics. Like a lot of them, you know, they've got a lot of people who are like, yeah, I was sort of like libertarian leaning or whatever, then I got into their channel and, you know, sure, cool, awesome, great. I'm glad they do that. I think that's an important function. But I think that there needs to be a layer of channels after them, you know? like a next layer of channels that you'll run into after that initial entry, who, maybe just take a step further, right? And then another layer beyond them, and so on. So I'm hoping to be just at that next layer, where, I don't go super theory heavy, and I don't think that I do a lot of like jargon and stuff. Yeah, it's just a pipeline. It's just pipeline theory. That's all. I don't get super academic or anything, but I try to bring those ideas into things. Even when I'm just talking about a movie or something, it's always very intentionally through a specific lens. Normally a Marxist lens. I will sometimes look at things other ways, but normally that's the primary lens. And I try to prompt people to go a bit further into studying those ideas. A lot of my videos will have sort of a reading recommendation, and especially more recently, trying to get people involved in real-world organizing. I think my most recent video, and the one that's about to come out, they both have they end with an explicit call to action. So it'll either be, go join a fucking org, go read this, think about this idea, or try to apply this. So I try to take it that extra just one step further. I don't know if I'm always successful. I don't know. I hope so. A lot of people have contacted me and told me that, I've helped them think about something in a new way, or inspired them to go and do something. So it's like, that's great. I'm hype. As long as I'm able to do that for anyone, then I'm not wasting my time, I guess, The layers until you get to Mecha Lenin. Yeah, that's the final layer. Yeah. But, with all of that in mind, I avoid some discussions that I have among, like, if I have groups of comrades who are all, like, fairly experienced and well-read. I'm not assuming my audience is necessarily. I do want to slowly ease further into more advanced ideas. Ideally, while still using media as a framing device, because I just enjoy doing that, and I think it's a super effective way to present a narrative. But you got to do the delicate balance of not alienating too much of your viewership at the same time. I don't shy away from socialist politics or the fact that I'm a socialist. It's not about, like... It's not about alienating people because of my politics, because that's what the channel's fucking about, but it's about not being boring, I guess, while still trying to go into maybe more complex ideas and figuring out ways to effectively do that. And that's, I'm finding it really fun, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job, so I love it. I'm into it. But yeah, there's still lots of things I'm not about to make a video about. Because, like, of my 10,000 subscribers, maybe like 100 of them it'll be for 100 of them, right? So it's, at a point you've got to know your audience. And then there's other things I just purposely don't talk about because it would be annoying. Like, I don't really talk about, like, gender that much. I find a lot of online trans spaces can be... I mean, they're often, full of, people who are in very vulnerable positions, and I think that a lot of these spaces can be pretty volatile, in my experience. And it's difficult when talking about stuff like that, because so much of it is personal experience. But it can be easy when you feel that you're in the same group as someone to feel attacked or invalidated in some way if their experience is different or even directly conflicts with yours. You know what I mean? So whenever anyone, like, talks about their experiences with gender, whether or not they've been shitty about it, there's usually, at least a handful of people who, like, just really... Not because they're transphobes, usually, like, people who are trans, they just don't feel that it's an accurate representation of their experience, and therefore it's a problem, and it can be a very combative environment. So I just fucking don't I'm really fucking tired, man. I just don't. You know what I mean? And between that and the actual reactionaries who shit their diapers whenever anyone talks about gender, like, it's, yeah, you know. I don't need the stress. There's a lot of other things to talk about. I know a few people who have, like, podcasts and stuff where they mostly talk about things like that, and, like, you know, if they asked, I'd probably go on there and talk about that stuff, but I'm probably not going to make videos about it. I'm not necessarily going to never talk about it, but it's like, there's other things to do that I think will be less of a pain in the ass, I guess. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I try to avoid talking about. Like, not really. I'm not very, like, smart or strategic with my, I don't know, brand, I guess. I guess it is a fucking brand, whether I like it or not, if I got, like, a YouTube channel. Yeah, I mostly just, like, tell people they're dipshits and shitpost and just, like... One thing I make a point of not making videos about is going into, like, intra-left arguments and stuff as well, like debates about the USSR or whatever. It's just, I don't think it's important. I don't think that it's useful to use my platform for at this point. A lot of people, their entire interaction with socialism is just fucking, like, rehashing these historical arguments and shit, and it's just like, who fucking cares? Don't be a fucking nerd, alright? That's my advice to everyone. Don't be such a fucking nerd. That's it. Let's see what's up next. A bada bing. Boom. Would you prefer to see left-wing MPs split from the Labour Party and form their own party after the recent events? They can if they want to. I think that socialists in the UK need to divest from the Labour Party and from electoral politics in general right now. We need to build a strong and united socialist movement so that at a later date, if we believe it'll be useful to engage with Labour or another party in an electoral way, we can choose to do that as a powerful block of political actors instead of just, like, the disconnected pile of random lefties who are easily obstructed, as we've learned from the past few years. Any sort of third party, it has to be made with the understanding that it won't be, like, winning elections anytime soon. It needs to be a rallying point for socialist organizations, something that can manage and allocate resources, and it can organize on a broader scope than, you know, the little factions could. Again, it's back to the thing I was talking about a federation of these little factions. But that organization's main priority should not be fucking running elections. I don't think that should be the top of our agenda. And I don't think that Labour is going to win anytime soon, because, like, the last 5 years has just been Labour getting, like, smeared and hammered into the ground by our media. And now they've got, like, a shitty centrist. And he needs to try to make a comeback from basically a party that's been treated like ISIS for 5 years. While offering nothing to anybody. Like, Keir Starmer is going to lose more seats than what we got in 2019. I'm very certain of it. So don't waste your fucking time with Labour right now. And if the left Labour MPs did go and, like, start a socialist party, great. Vote for that. Don't vote for Keir Starmer. Fuck him. Fuck the Blairites. Tony Blair was more damaging to the working class and socialist organizing in the UK than any Tory government, except maybe Thatcher. But even then, Thatcher was an enemy to rally against, whereas Tony Blair subsumed many who could have been socialists. Blair and Thatcher were literally friends. Yeah, no, they were. Yeah, Blair was, he was just like a continuation of the Thatcher project that managed to convince people he was the left. Insanity. And I would sooner have 5 more years of Boris than a fucking Blairite like Starmer. Easy, no contest. Because I've seen, and so many people here have lived through what Blairite politics fucking did. Like, the working class were humiliated. That's my video after the next one is going to be about this, really. Thatcher said New Labour was her greatest achievement, and it was, to be honest. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it fucking ruined the left for 2 decades. It turned a lot of people who should have been socialists into soulless, like, compromising reformists, and it took the people who were radical and fully alienated them, and that's why the UK... That's why the left in the UK, like the radical left, is just like a bunch of weird groups of like 5 anarchists or like, a little fucking Leninist reading group here and there. Like, totally just fractured, useless nerds. And we're only just starting to make a comeback and build something worthwhile again. So it would be fucking suicide to fall behind like Keir Starmer right now. So do not vote Labour. Don't vote Starmer. Join a fucking org. I don't care if they're perfect. Do something. Do not phone bank or campaign for these pricks. They are going to just do what the Tories do, but make you feel like it's your fault. And everybody will suffer for it. Fuck them. So I guess to the original question, yeah, sure. Let them do a third party. Things couldn't get worse than a fucking Blairite or Boris Johnson. Like, yeah, do whatever. I'm up for whatever. I'm down. I'll party. It's cool. That's my take on that. Yeah, I'm gonna have an upcoming video about sort of Blairism and Labour and sort of where I think people in the UK should go next. I do spend a bit of time trying to balance UK and US politics. According to analytics, 50% of my audience is US, but I mostly want to talk about UK stuff. So I'm gonna in this upcoming video, I'm gonna talk about Bernie a bit and the primary. But also Corbyn, and then in the next one, it's just going to be Labour. And I think when Keir Starmer inevitably fucking loses, I'm going to do a State of Centrism 2. Keir Electric Boogaloo, I don't know. Hey, Kai. You love hearing about UK stuff? That is good, because I talk about it, and I'm angry about it. And I think that John McDonnell should start a new party, and the party is just called Gun. And when people try to ask him what his policies are, what his campaign strategy is going to be, he just brandishes a gun. That's it. That's it. Are Reagan and Thatcher the children of the devil? Yeah, man. They were buds too. Like they cooperated to bring in sort of the modern era of hell that we live in. Here is Gun. Yeah, it's his platform. Gun. Although I'm still trying to come to terms with the idea that the Republicans are actually better for us than the Dems now. Well, my position with the US is the same as what I was just saying about the UK. Like, I'd take a few more years of right-wing lunatics over right-wing lunatics who are posing as the left, who will like humiliate, demoralize, and fucking like destroy us. Whereas if it's the right, it's something to rally against. And again, they're gonna do the same fucking thing. So allow me to consult Mrs. Gunn. I don't know. Vote green. Vote communist. Vote fucking AK-47. I don't know. I want to argue that point, but I have 0 points to put forward. That's the position a lot of people are finding themselves in. These are crazy times. I wanted to believe the Dems were good, but after these last couple years, very little faith. Yeah, I mean, I just think after Obama, like, you just can't. Like, if I was in the US, yeah, I would never vote Dem again. Yeah. This is why you've got to divest from electoral politics. You've got to focus on the direct socialist organizing that you can do now. Because, like, US elections especially are so draining. They go on for fucking ever. Pardon me. They go on forever. And you never get anything good out of it. It's designed to just exhaust you and piss you off. Like, you gotta just take a step back and say, you know what? I'm just gonna laugh at Biden trying to debate Trump, and I'm gonna work on my own thing. Who gives a fuck who wins in November? We're fucked either way. We need to work to counter the fact that we're being fucked, and we're just not doing that at the ballot box. That's just not where that's gonna happen for the foreseeable future. I don't even live in the US and I get tired of their elections. Yeah, same, man. We must counter fuck. Exactly. They try to rat fuck you, you ferret fuck them. You give them the business. Modern Dem shit started with JFK? Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, to answer the question that this person has asked me, sure. Whatever you do, don't fucking stay with Labor. I've left. I'm not giving them a penny. I'm not voting for them either. I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. And the final question that I've got on the docket is, what do you think socialists should be doing during the pandemic? Washing their fucking hands. Folks. No, actually, I made a whole ass video about this. It's my most recent one, Lessons from a Pandemic, which I highly recommend. But the big takeaway, I think, is that we need to take this opportunity to show people that companies and governments aren't the ones saving us when disaster strikes. You know, we are going to save our own asses. And this comes back around to talking about, you know, if the U.S. as a state were to become jeopardized, it's up to us to help each other. Like, it's every time of crisis like this highlights the same thing. Like, no one else is gonna do it. So like, join a mutual aid group, join your local Food Not Bombs, fucking feed people, help people, make sure they know you're doing it, because working class people need to look out for each other, not because you're being fucking paid to do it. That's all. And I think we should carry that attitude forward in all of our organizing, really. COVID and the economy are just going to get worse, and Biden has an overwhelming lead amongst voters who hate them both. Yeah. Joe Pudding Brain 2020. I just got here and I don't know what you were saying, but I agree. Hey, Icon. I've just been answering questions people have been asking. I need to remember to download this one, and I've been putting it off, but I need to make like an archive channel for streams. A couple of people have mentioned it to me. I guess I'll start with this one. Why not? Yeah, so yeah, basically what I was just saying, Icon, is to this question on the screen here, you need to be working in your communities right now. You need to be feeding people. You need to be in mutual aid groups. I'm in like quite a big one that my tenants union has set up, where I get notified if anyone in my postcode has like a request or a need. It's not perfect because it relies on people being online to some degree, but there's plenty of other organizational models, people who are more directly like just on their street. Like there's a lot to do. The biggest functional problem in US politics is Congress is completely dysfunctional and unable to check the other branches. Yeah, the whole checks and balances thing is fucking hilarious. Yeah, the entire, like, the entire US political system is fully fucking compromised. And again, any efforts of pursuing socialism through these channels should be done with that in mind, right? This is not like a functional or fair system in any way. And it's actively made not just to fuck you, but also kind of to fuck itself, you know? It's a disaster. But yeah, that's all the preordained questions I had, really. Any of you guys have questions you want to hit me with? Fucking throw them at me, man. I'm just watching Skib have a little snooze, little skittles. Checks and balances was taken slightly different by corporate lobbies. Haha! That's true. But yeah, fucking... Why doesn't Skittles have a buddy? She does. Me. Dude, I'm Skittles' buddy. How dare? How dare you question my buddy credentials? The biggest thing is that, like, we couldn't afford multiple ferrets. Especially because they can be prone to health issues. We had to make sure that we were going to be able to afford, a medical emergency if it came up. Ferrets are fine without other ferrets, provided their human is, like, very interactive and spends a lot of time with them, which we do. It's cool. I live with my partner, so the two of us can, between the two of us, we can make sure that she's, never lonely, which is good. I wish I wasn't isolated from a communist party in the South, but I'll look for a student union when I'm at uni. I mean, I'm a known anti-student person, but I mean, if you're gonna be one, then what are you gonna do, right? There's sure to be something. I highly recommend looking for like a Food Not Bombs or other kind of food program, because there will be people there who have good politics, Start a new Patreon tier to get Skittles a ferret friend. I don't want to do that. Speaking of, though, just like, hey, thanks to my patrons. I know, I'm pretty sure at least some of you in here are. Thank you, really. Like, it was December 2018, I want to say, was my first video. So it's been like a year and a bit I've been doing this. And things have gone well. Yeah, obviously I'm at 10,000 subscribers. I'm really happy with it. I'm glad that people like what I'm making. I put in a new Patreon tier for the. I already have a couple like $10 patrons, and it opens. It's basically those people can contribute ideas for future videos, basically. Just because I guess I want to hear back from people as well. Like, what do you want to see fucking videos about? $1,000 a month Patreon tier, so Skittles can have a ferret buddy. I don't think I could like bring myself to take that much money from someone, even if someone was just like insane and rich enough to do that. It's just, I don't know. It's a lot. On my highest Patreon tier is like $10. I don't know. If I ever did one bigger than that, I would need a really good idea to like justify it, like to give some people something really cool. But like that's probably as much as I'll like do anytime soon anyway. And yeah, like Kai says, if you can't find a communist org, then volunteering at a food bank is better than nothing. And it is. Just get yourself used to doing stuff. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just don't be someone who just is at home depressed. Like, it makes a big difference when you're going out and doing something, Question, have you considered analyzing Avatar: The Last Airbender since you've already done Legend of Korra? I've thought about it. I don't know. See, I made the Korra videos because there was no analysis of Korra that I thought was any good. I'd seen a few videos that were very shallow, and then some that I thought were just wrong about a lot of things. So I made my series on it because I was like, all right, well, I want there to be coherent takes on the politics of these seasons. Whereas I think there's a lot of very good analysis of The Last Airbender, and also it rules. And I don't know. I don't know if I've got anything like new or that worthwhile to say about it. I do have a lot to say about the ending and kind of the ethics of like children's shows. That might be it might play a role in a video with a broader scope one day. The big shouty video, yeah, I think I do know the one, and just shit analysis, like, you know. More than a few topics I've chosen to cover were because I tried to find anyone else covering them, and what I found was just like either nothing or embarrassing, you know? There's a Brazilian podcast with a R7000 in which they would travel to Las Vegas and get all married by an Elvis guy. You know what? That's a good tier, actually. I'll do that. Make a video about Paw Patrol. I don't really know what Paw Patrol is. I'm old. I don't watch as many children's shows as some YouTubers who I love and respect and only find a little frightening. I find a lot of shows like that end with a kind of, and then they set up democracy and everything was better because of that, despite it never being mentioned in the show. My big thing is that, at least in the final season, Aang's entire character conflict is whether or not he kills the Fire Lord, and then like a few episodes before the finale, they just give him a new power so he doesn't have to. And I would like to write something at some point about the selective morality of things that are for kids. Star Wars is a great example. They'll mow down like 100 fucking stormtroopers, but then it's like, oh, you can't strike down the Emperor. That's dark side, because he's an important person with a face and a name, not like those commoners, you know. You should do analysis of media I've seen. What have you seen? I'm open to suggestions. Skittles cam is frozen. Is it? Oh. Shit. Hold on. Let me restart. Boop. Oh, she's moved into her bed. Fantastic. She moved! I don't know, probably couldn't see, like, the breathing. We should do communist rewrites of all kinds of pop culture. Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, exactly, Scrussel. Goons are okay to kill because workers aren't human. Like, that's the message. Only the important great men of history matter. Yeah, so it's a very liberal morality, and I find it completely disingenuous, and I find that it falls apart under any scrutiny. Yeah, Aang did, in fairness to Aang, he does try not to kill people. However, I do think that it's an extension of that morality, that Aang is basically not made to make that decision. He gets Deus Ex Machina out of it. Analyze Possum and how people in power can get away with horrible crimes. Is that the one with the guy with the, like, thing in a briefcase? I didn't like that. Also, I think it's a completely morally justified act to kill the Fire Lord like that. Without question. And I am prepared to argue this in a video that I'll probably make one day. Yeah, see, Kyoshi was, like, good. Aang fucking blows. I don't know, I mostly just watch Twitch streams and pro wrestling now. RPGs and anime from the 90s. Kai, you're living the life. I approve of your lifestyle. I've always been a little curious about whether or not the incompetence of the stormtroopers was an intentional decision to make them less sympathetic. I don't know. I was watching The Mandalorian, and I think there was a scene implying that they were just given, like, shitty guns that, like, aren't well calibrated. They're just trying to, like, make sense of their own dumb universe. I don't know. It's kind of funny. Still surprised they allowed Azula to live. Yeah, I don't know. What even happened with her? I don't think she's mentioned in Korra. Oh yeah, you're right, Scrussel. There's that line in A New Hope that they're supposed to be super accurate. See, is that like shitty writing or really good writing? Because that's like propaganda. Because, going back to Avatar, I mentioned this in my Book 4 Korra video, the Nazis really worked to like spread this idea of their like awesome, super advanced army that was, you know, a lot more cobbled together and shitty than the image they tried to project. So, you know, if the Empire was being like, yeah, our super shitty, like poorly equipped soldiers with like guns that don't work, you know, if they're just going around saying, yeah, they shoot super well, they never miss, like, I don't know. That could, you know, that might have been something interesting. The problem with how much dumb shit is in Star Wars is you just kind of have to decide for yourself with something like that if that was something very clever or just like they forgot they said that, you know? Back in Kenobi's days, they were really good because they were the clones. Ooh, yeah, that could be something. Again, anything like that was definitely not something that they thought about at the time. That's just something that might make sense after the fact. I read the comic on Zuko finding his mom. He brought Azula with him, and by the end she ran off. Oh, I need to read the comics. I need to do that. Was wondered how, like, the Empire and the First Order bankrolled all the military production. I think, like, slavery. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're putting more thought in than the writers. That's it. That's Star Wars, folks. Like, I try not to like be a lore nerd and shit. Yeah, so just like the real Nazis. There you go. George Lucas, I think was like relatively left wing, at least at the time. You know, he was against the Vietnam War. He had praise for the Soviet Union. The enemies in his universe were kind of a combination of the Nazis and like U.S. imperialists. Like, it's a fucking weirdo, but Skittles. Oh, she can reach her food bowl from within her bed. This is high level. This is a high level play, folks. Not just anyone can do this. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Fucking absolutely. Skittles rules, man. Just rules. The prequels are really good at showing the rise of fascism. Yeah. It's a shame the movies suck, because like they did have interesting things to say, and they did bring a lot of like fresh and interesting perspective to the original movies. Unlike the sequel trilogy, which mostly just like made everything retroactively worse, especially The Rise of Skywalker. Like, if Palpatine is still alive, then everything that's happened has just been so much more dumb. I'm not gonna fight you. You're free to watch them if you want, but they suck. Any thoughts on Dune? Dune is fun. I'm into Dune. They're gonna make a new one, and David Lynch isn't directing it. I don't know about that. I don't like the guy, the main guy. I forget his name. It's like a French name. I hate his face. It's very upsetting to look at. But Oscar Isaac's in it, so, you know, you take the good, you take the bad. I remember thinking it was a good thing the Star Wars EU was no longer canon because it meant they got rid of dumb stuff like cloning Palpy. Oops. Yeah, all the worst shit from the expanded universe, they're gonna just do it again in movies. You can get the audiobook version of Dune on the Discord. Oh, hell yeah. By the way, folks, join the Discord. Link is just below the stream. Dune has good things and bad things, but ultimately it's a white savior narrative. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, it is that. Isn't that the guy who made Incel Blade Runner? Is that the new one? I haven't seen the new one. Dune cloned the shit out of guys long before Star Wars got to it, yeah. My big thing is, instead of watching fucking Star Wars, watch Akira Kurosawa movies. I recommend Yojimbo and obviously Seven Samurai. Throne of Blood is very good. Yeah, Kurosawa was like one of the best directors who's ever lived. Just go fucking watch his movies. And this isn't a Kurosawa one. I forget who directed it, but there is another movie from like the 60s. It's called Harakiri. That's like my favorite movie ever made. Go watch that. Go watch really fucking good classic samurai flicks and cut out the middleman. And then you don't have to watch Star Wars. It's got all the same good stuff, but everything's better. Except there's no Wookiees, unfortunately. But, you know, you gotta make sacrifices. Thoughts on Godzilla? I don't know, I've never met him. I don't know. We can probably stop, like, rebooting it and making new Godzillas. I didn't see the last one with Cranston in it. I didn't. Don't drop nukes on people. Lesson learned. I've always said this, actually. That was 2014. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not happy to learn that that was 6 years ago. I'm not happy at all. Isn't the recent Japanese reboot made by the Evangelion guy, really? I don't know. You've got to work really fucking hard to sell me on reboots, you know? Because, like, I've seen something. Don't waste my fucking time unless you're giving me something really good to make me see it again. So this is an unfortunate time for me to be alive, because this is just the era of infinite reboots and misery. Quite upset to learn I'm getting old. Yeah, same, man. Sucks. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't recommend it to anyone. Oh. What's Skittles up to in there? Moving around a bit. Aw. What a cool dude. They should reboot bad movies and make them good. Yeah, you know, if they were doing that, it'd be a little bit better. We answer all Godzilla questions later on the Discord. wise words from Rage Against the Machine about Godzilla. That's another reason capitalism sucks. It reboots the opposite stuff than what needs it. Yeah, obviously, you only want to reboot something you know is successful, then it's a safe bet. So you're just like wasting fucking time rebooting something that's already been done well, you know? Oh, was that actually in the movie, Kai? That owns. Reboot Red Dawn and make it about a communist revolution. Well, make sure it's a documentary, baby! Reboot the Star Wars prequels. I mean, you could... They kind of did with the Clone Wars series. They follow a lot of the same beats, except making them good. And I'm fine with that. Yeah, Clone Wars is good. I'm still watching it. I wanna get caught up because there's a new season I haven't seen that people seem to like. Hey Artemis, how you doing? Is Skittles asleep? It looks like it. Yeah, she's in her bed there. I think it's frozen again. God damn it. Hold on, let me... Sorry about these technical difficulties, folks. Life's fucking hard, you know? Ah, it was. You got a good eye. Where the fuck is she? Yeah, she's in there somewhere. Mail you better webcam. I'm using my phone with Droid Cam. It's not very good, but it's the only thing I've got that's been working at all. Skittles is hacking the camera. It's genius. Well, she's doing something on the middle floor there. I think she's just like hanging out. Yeah, Skittles rules. That's the thing that everyone needs to understand about Skittles. Fake feminism hurts me. Yeah, Skittles does not endorse liberal feminism. She's not having it. Skittles is the only pure, ideologically correct entity. Oh, she's having a scratch. Very powerful. Chillin' like a villain, that's right. Give Skittles your socks as a sacrifice. I think we've given her a few. Once my socks start getting holes in it, they just become Skittles property. Oh, she's going back down to the bottom floor. Oh. Anyway, folks, that I don't know, that probably about wraps it up. If any of you guys have any other questions you want me to fucking go on about, yeah, so getting to 10,000 subscribers, that's pretty fucking sick. I've been really happy with how the channel's been going. Like, you know, my DMs are open. I'm still, you know, still small. I don't. Sometimes if things get really busy, I get a little overwhelmed with messages and don't answer them for a very long time. But normally, you know, I can talk to people about stuff. I'm open to, you know, ideas and to upload this later on YouTube. Yeah, Nightmare. I was just saying earlier, I'm gonna finally make like an archive channel, and I will start with this video. It seems like a good place to start. Where'd you get that cool voice? Icon, I don't know. I was born with it, I think. That's not true. I probably had like a weird high-pitched baby voice. I don't really remember. It's weird. In your brain, you kind of always sound the same, but obviously that's not possible. So, promised us the channel like 3 months ago. Listen, buddy, the thing you gotta learn about me is I don't meet my deadlines. Turn your voice into a further commodity. That's kind of what it... Oh, Skittles. That's kind of what I've chosen to do. I do wanna do voice acting. I've done a little bit. I did some voice acting for a friend's animation project for university. I'm in that. I've sent out actually demos a couple of times, but I haven't gotten like paid work from it. But yeah, my main priority in like that side of work is my channel and making sure that my videos are, you know, high quality and make sense and are coming out, you know, as frequently as I can. We redub anime. I should just start doing that. Yeah, Skittles is just like partying there. I think she's scratching her back. What a cool guy. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. We'll probably do another stream at, I don't know, 50,000, 100,000. Yeah, obviously my usual like weekend streams will be happening in the same way. Just as Linkara the Lightbringer says, it'll come out when it comes out. Yeah, I try to, you know, not take too long between videos, but yeah, it's got to be done, you know? When I realize my dream and make a video game, I'll call you for my first VA audition. Honestly, do it. I will voice act in your video games. I'll do fucking sound design for your video games. I do that shit too. Fucking DM me. At 1 million. Okay. Yeah, I'll do a stream at 1 million. Sure, it won't be long now. Anyway, I think that's it. I'm just sort of watching Skittles just fucking party, and it's got to finish the plot. Sick. Talk to me about it sometime. I want to do like voice acting and also like music for video games. That's sort of an aspiration I have in life, and I hope that you know, I'll be able to contribute to a cool project one day. What music style? I mean, I've got I like to make like synthwave kind of music, not unlike what we're listening to right now. I got a little EP out actually. I could let me drop a little cheeky link in the chat there. Hang on. I haven't like finished and released a project in a while. In a couple years, I think. I've got a lot of like partially completed stuff, but yeah, I've just had sort of other priorities, you know. You know how it is. Oh, of course she is. Yeah, see ya, Icon. Thanks. Yeah, work in progress, the bane of the creator's existence. Skittles is simmering down again. Yeah, she's snoozing again. Anyway, yeah, if you guys like, you know, like little synthy music, I got a little EP there I linked. It's pretty nice. I like it. Give it a listen. Buy it if you want. Why not? Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Fucking subscribe to the Patreon. Bada bing. But thank you all again. Thanks for coming. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thank you, Kai. Thank you for complimenting my music. That's also very nice. Yeah, I'm walking here. Yeah, just thanks. I'm gonna get the next video out next few days, and hopefully it won't be too long till we're doing another big like milestone stream. Here's to another wonderful round of just pandemic streaming that'll carry on after this. You have a good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.